Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon to everybody in this room and online, wherever you are watching us. It's a pleasure to have you with us. And I'm going to do a slow introduction because the afternoon, it's nice weather and people are slowly coming in. So I'm going to give you a pleasant introduction to our workshop parallel track on digital innovations in evaluation. And Janet has been passing these slides. Maybe if you want to put on the PowerPoint, and you may be wondering what this is about, because they are slightly strange images. They have a sense. They do have a meaning. So what's this? These are evaluators. They are all evaluators, right? And these are evaluators like doing what evaluators do. Yeah, they look for something. They're trying to find the truth. And I would say in a slightly complex environment. In this case, it's a bit in disorder, isn't it? Yeah. And these two also are evaluators. They are looking, I don't know, probably for the right data. It's a bit sometimes like looking for a needle in the haystack, isn't it? So where is the right data that we need? And then you have the knowledge managers, those who construct databases and who have all this big data. Yeah, they're sitting on the big data. And maybe you can make sense out of it, or maybe you don't. And I thought, this is you and us, sort of standing in front of big data and wondering, what are we going to do with it? And can we use it? Or maybe not. And if so, how? And yeah, so it's a mystery a bit. But this is not where it stops. So yeah, I mean, these are metaphors, of course, but does anybody have an idea why I showed these? What, I mean, an additional reason why I chose to show such images? They're a bit strange, aren't they? They are all made with artificial intelligence. They are all generative artificial intelligence. Very easy. Available on the internet for free. You can go and have a look afterwards. And this is what comes out when you put in two people standing in front of a mountain of data. That's what it spits out, right? So I thought this was, I thought this was a becoming metaphor for what we are going to talk about, right? So the technology and all that technology lets us do, and that it lets us do with data. And data is, of course, the basis for doing evaluation and monitoring and evaluation. And with new technologies, we are fast acquiring speed and capacity in gathering data, in managing it, and even in interpreting it, as we will be hearing. So yeah, not only evaluation, but also evaluation is benefiting from the advances in technology. And so we have 5 panelists, as it were, 4 are sitting here, and as it is becoming for a workshop on digital innovation, 1 is sitting far away, unfortunately, in Benin. He couldn't come, but technology allowing it, he's still here. There he is. Hello, Dio. in Benin, who is one of our panelists. He's going to present to us an innovation which he has made in Benin, an application that allows on the local level, local and national level, to follow the SDGs. But first of all, we will start with Daniel Jacobo from the Spanish Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He's technical advisor in the Division of Evaluation of Sustainable Development, and he will showcase a database that is being developed. And so there we are a bit on the donor side, if you like, and then we move further into the multilateral organization with Gonzalo Gomez, who is Chief of Knowledge and Data Management, so sitting on top of the mountain of data at the Independent Evaluation Office of the UNDP. And he's going to show us how AIDA works. And AIDA, of course, again, it's not the opera of Verdi, but something else. And then we have Nodumo Magadlela, who comes from KPI Lens in Ghana, and he's going to showcase a cloud-based M&E solution package. And then, last but not least, from the local and national levels, we move up to the space to see geospatial data, and that will be Toshio Kota, who is Principal Evaluation Specialist at the Asian Development Bank. We will do very simple, one after the other, because we want to have this as a practical and showcasing session where you really can see how things work rather than being told about them. And then we will give space to your questions. So all the time, a lot of time should be reserved for you to intervene. Let me say that probably it's a good idea to put on your headphones for Spanish to whatever your language is translation, right?
No, I will present in English.
Oh, so you do present in English. Okay, so please, in English, the floor is yours.
Yes, Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks a lot for being here in this panel. My name is Daniel Jacobo. I work in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, European Union and Cooperation of Spain, inside the Secretariat of State of International Cooperation, and specifically in the Division of Evaluation of Development Policies. Today, I would like to show you two applications that we thought they are useful for our work in evaluation. That is first an integrated data system on evaluation and also on all the cycle of an intervention. And the other is a scan for text that can help us to see the bias of an evaluation towards some SDGs. So if we play, this is the first application that I would like to present. It's called Info ODS 2030 InfoEval. So first of all, if we can pause a little bit, our work in the Division of Evaluation deals with coordination and strengthening of the evaluation system of the Spanish cooperation that is featured by its multiplicity of factors. So we don't only have the national public administration with the Spanish Agency of Cooperation, ICID, but we also have the different Spanish NGOs, universities, and the autonomous regions that also are part of the cooperation system in Spain. We can go forward. So our Division of Evaluation works on coordination, on knowing how the system of evaluation of the international cooperation of Spain is working. And also we develop synthesis and strategic evaluations. If we can pause, please. The Director General for Development Policies undertook the task of setting an integrated online data system for evaluation activity and for the all the cycle of an intervention, also for planning and for monitoring. But today I will focus on evaluation. The aim is to have evidence-based cooperation to sustainable development, that we can gather together all this information that the Spanish system of cooperation is undertaking in terms of evaluation. Before having this system, the work was manual. So this system gives us two main benefits. So the first of all, passing through the manual work of sending emails, talking to all the actors, to a decentralized digital system. This helps us to reduce data harvesting time and increases efficiency in our management of resources, enhances data integrity, automatizes data validation, harmonization and analysis, and improves collaboration between all the actors of the Spanish cooperation, coordination and adaptation, and also provides geolocalization of its evaluand that they are reporting us. That also help us to create time series and doing traceability of all the evaluations that the Spanish community is undertaking. But also we pass from annual reports that are static and we publish once a year to real-time open online dashboards that works on transparency and open government. There's a dashboard after having all the data collected in the system that is open to the citizens to check about the activity in evaluation. They can do ad hoc analysis and visualization. And for us, it also gives easy access to the documents of an evaluation because they can be gathered in a cloud. So I'm going, after this explanation, I would like to show you, we can play now. What is the practical visualization of this system? It's going to be this new version that I'm going to show you is going to be implemented this month. We have a previous interface, so this is an exclusive for all of you. So just by Googling, you can access to the main portal. There's a private access for all the actors to log in and introduce their data on evaluation. And there's this open visualization that is powered by Power BI. So here we can find the number of evaluations that the Spanish community undertook in a certain year, and also the number of agents that reported. And the first part, we also have a word map that all the description of an evaluation that they report us in our questionnaires, it's over there. Then we have filters in the left with the country of operation, SDG, which agent reported, etc. And we can filter from the map, and there's the real-time results once the filter is used. So we can see it also in the geographic map. We can filter through the map, for example, the evaluations that were undertaken in Mali. And also we can filter by words, in this case, university. Then we can move forward to the other part of the dashboard, where there's charts and graphs. Also interactively, the user can filter if they want to know who is evaluating, which type of evaluation, with that sector has been evaluated, the SDG, different instruments, are also if the evaluation of that intervention contributed to the Spanish strategy against COVID in terms of cooperation. So we can check SDG1, we can go to the map and see how many evaluations we have with their targets. And then there's a third part of the dashboard where all the list of the different evaluations that agents are reporting is showcased. So if you filter and just clicking one of the of that list. They give you information in the up top of the dashboard, and also you can download the reports if the agent wanted to showcase it. We can stop here for a moment. Yes, thank you very much. This is the second application that I would like to introduce to you. It's called Scanner 2030, and we find it useful for evaluations and synthesis for SDGs. So we can move forward, please. So this has been a partnership between CSO that is called Political Votes and the Secretary of State of International Cooperation. So for example, we can take an evaluation in this case of the country partnership framework of Spain with Bolivia and take lessons and recommendations. So we can take all the text, and just by copy paste in the box, the system scans the text and will give us information about this text that is biased or related to a certain SDG and their targets. So it's processing. We have here the results distributed in different SDGs. Then we have also a chart where we can find the different SDGs that this specific test was talking about. For example, we can take SDG 16, and we have 12 times an appearance of words that are related to that SDG. For example, we have participation of civil society 3 times. We have participation of indigenous population 1 time. Debate and participation in spaces 1 time. And this is working with artificial intelligence, with machine learning, and with word dictionaries that our experts are working on it to tackle all these words. Then there's the distribution, and then here's a list of all the words that are related to a certain target, a certain SDGs. And yeah, the program also allows us to download all these results. And we find this might be interesting to use for evaluation and for synthesis, for example, in the case of synthesis on SDGs, or knowing how an evaluation that has not the focus on SDGs could contribute to the advance of SDGs. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for this very, very nice, interesting presentation. And now I invite Gonzalo, please, to show us what AIDA really is about.
Hey, good afternoon to all. Thank you, Claudia, for the introduction. While they load the presentation, I'm Gonzalo Gomez. I'm the Chief of Knowledge and Data Management section of the IEO, the Independent Evaluation Office of UNDP. AIDA started some time ago, and how it started the whole thing. A global pandemic was challenging for all of us. So no more travel, no more field work. So what you do now, you sitting in your desk or sitting in your desk at home, right? How can you tap into the information that you have and deal with the different challenges that we had to provide information to our organizations and people to deal with the pandemic? So UNDP has this Evaluation Resource Center, which is a database where we capture every single evaluation report since 2002. But what is the problem? The problem there with over 6,000 reports is that you can search the reports, basically the labels on it, how you introduce the report, but the main challenge is that you cannot search inside the report. So we have many functionalities there. We can export data from ERC, but with certain limitations, right? One of the things and the products that our team started to work is reflections, is how, okay, I'll move a little bit so you can come. How can we draw the lessons from the existing material that we have? And this was a manual process. So go to the evaluations that you remember that were a crisis, like the Ebola crisis, and they prepared the different reflection papers on environment and electoral systems and so on. to know how we deal with crisis. But then the need created by the pandemic drove us to use artificial intelligence. And I have a wonderful team behind this. One of the great minds behind this here, Anish. Anish is back there. So thank you to Anish and to all the team. So what was the idea? As a very simple problem to resolve, right? How can I search inside a document? How can I search inside 6,000 documents? So the simple problem needed artificial intelligence because we needed to ingest in a database all these documents and the machine able to read the documents and to decide and define what is a finding, what is a conclusion, and what is a recommendation. And what a finding is related to what different theme or different topic, environment, governance, and so on. So phase one that we have running right now, you can access it at aida.undp.org, is searching, right? You can search the reports there. The phase two that we have envisioned for the future, and we are working on it, is determining at the paragraph level the sentiment analysis, whether it's positive, neutral, or negative, and insight generation combining with secondary data, like World Bank indicators, like UN stat indicators, where we can actually combine this data and the computer can tell you what is found, right? Now, how it works and what is AIDA? AIDA stands for Artificial Intelligence Development Analytics, right? It's a tool that can allow us to do analysis over the data that we have. So as I said, we did the data acquisition, we extracted the text, we processed through a comprehension model with something that is based on a taxonomy of labels that we built. And the result is the search engine, but it's not a typical machine learning model because we introduced something that we call the human in the loop. The human in the loop is a supervised machine learning. So it's not the machine automatically throwing things to you. It means that when we train the computer to do something, it's like teaching a kid to do something. When the computer makes mistakes, we go there as humans and we correct the mistakes that the machine is doing. So next time that you train the machine will know where corrections need to be made. What is AIDA in practice? I think I will not go to the demo, otherwise I will. You can go there, right? aida.undp.org. You can filter by year, by topic, by country, by type of evaluation, by many things. What you can get there as the results can be exported in CSV. So basically, for example, in the workshop that we started for synthesis, the World Bank was showing us how they extract one, not paragraph, one sentence, and the system can extract more sentences so you can have the context in order to get the data to do a synthesis. In our case, we extract paragraphs. So those paragraphs come from different reports, and AIDA will tell you which report was extracted from, and if it is a finding, a conclusion, or a recommendation. And you can export all these findings, and the text can be exported to Excel. And of course, we love Excel. You can do many things in Excel. You can filter, you can find the words and things like that. What is the beauty of this? And allow me to take one more minute on this, because I know that you will show me the paper. This is not a word search engine, because it will search the context of what we label. So, for example, if you look for reconstruction efforts, it will bring different reconstruction efforts from different perspectives, like earthquakes, like floodings. But it's not that it's searching for the word only, because when we label the different topics, the paragraphs are meaningful to what you are searching. So, for example, we realize one thing. when you search gender, every single project and every single evaluation have gender on it, but gender related to gender marker in UNDP or measurements of gender, but not necessarily to gender as a thematic area. With AIDA, we were able to extract gender information more precisely than just searching for words, like en vivo or our system that allows you to search for words. So it's quite powerful. So just to close, what we are doing now? Two more machine learning models. One is the sentiment analysis that I said is part of our vision. And the other part that is the insight generation. But for the insight generation, is quite interesting what we are doing, because we are using internal data from UNDP, from our systems, from the projects that we have, and we are combining with external indicators. And based on the country typology that we have, you will be obtaining something that is natural language generation. But the technicians now in this new world, they call document intelligence, because we are using documents to extract information, to combine with external data, and to generate something that can be meaningful to you. We already did the proof of concept. And the proof of concept was so successful that when you read that piece of text, you think that a human wrote the text. So it has good things and bad things. But the good thing is that we also introduce the human in the loop there, where we can supervise what the machine is giving you. And at the end, the evaluator or the program manager or the project manager that is using the system can decide whether this has some value and explore on it and validate what the machine is giving you. But as a final word, searching 6,000 reports and getting the information in a matter of seconds cannot be done by humans. If you need to read 5,000 reports or 6,000 reports, you will have 100 consultants reading each one 50, 60 reports, and it cannot be done in one day. So that is where innovation can take us in shortening time and being more precise in our research. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Gonzalo. I knew this would happen, right? You have sitting here the developers of these new applications. They love their babies, don't they? So let's call another father to the podium. Nudomo, please. No, it's you. Yeah. No, it's you.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I represent a technology startup based in Accra, Ghana. And for the past 3 years, we've been obsessed with improving M&E technology workflows. So we've been interviewing M&E professionals across Africa, just asking them at work when you arrive, what's the first application you open? What do you click next? What do you do next? The whole purpose was to try and make your job easier by building an all-in-one M&E platform on the cloud. Now, I must say this has been really challenging to do because we're building an advanced analytics platform from West Africa, and we're expected to compete with players that are on a global stage. But we can showcase how far we've come. We've made a video of a demo. If you could play that with the sound, please. Okay. Each of these projects within this portfolio, when they are clicked, it's possible to see a summary of the dashboards, and these dashboards update in near real time. To create these dashboards, we need to first of all create a form. And upon clicking the Create Form button, we'll be able to create a form that looks this way, using these form elements that can be clicked and then dragged onto the canvas. Once a form is created, it can then be shared on WhatsApp from the platform, or a link can be copied and sent via email. The responses land on the responses tab, and they can be stored here on the cloud or downloaded as an Excel or CSV to an on-premise database. Once this is done, we can create the M&E framework of the project. This is a visual representation of a logical framework with the impact or the goal at the top and the outcomes, short-term and long-term, output and input. Under each of these levels of the project, you can set the relevant indicators. At output level, at outcome level, you can choose what the indicators are for the long term and for the short term, and also for the overall impact. Once the indicators are set up in this way, they will all appear on the indicator table. And on clicking upon each of these indicators, we'll be able to analyze them without writing any SQL. Let's analyze one of these indicators to find young people's confidence to find work. We select the survey, which has the answers to that question that was sent out to participants. And all the questions will be found in the dimensions section. And we can just search by the word confidence and the question appears. And then we set the measure to count. All the measures are aggregate functions like count, maximum, minimum, and average. Those are the ones we currently have. So on selecting count and choosing it to display as a table, we can see how the participants responded, how many felt fairly confident, and so on. We can further disaggregate this by gender by selecting dimension to get all our questions. And we know we asked a question, do you identify as, in order to know their gender. And upon selecting that, we can now see how many men or how many women selected, fairly confident, and so forth. We can further disaggregate by any other desired question, depending on what the evaluator asked in the survey. This can then be added to a dashboard. And each time the stakeholders open this project, this table will be clearly visible on the dashboards, and this updates in near real time. Thank you. To the slides. Each of these projects within this portfolio So to date, we've been able to pilot in Mozambique for the past 8 months. We've been collecting data remotely through WhatsApp on the platform with a group of evaluation consultants. And some of the challenges have been with language, given that it's a Portuguese speaking territory. But what they love about our platform is that it's easy to download all their data, and the dashboards update in near real time. So as soon as the participants complete a form, you can immediately see what's happening and all the stakeholders can see in near real time. So this is us. If ever you have a project and you think you'd like to adopt us, please send either myself or my co-founder an email, or you can visit our website and sign up for free. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. No, do more. Short and sweet, yes, to the point. And yeah, on directly applicable on project level. So completely different take from what we've had so far, and very relevant to the practitioners, to the project managers also among us. And now let's continue on to Benin. At a distance. Dio, please. The floor is yours. Now we really need to move away.
Thank you very much, Claudia. Thanks to everyone. Allow me to really appreciate the Global Evaluation Initiative Launchpad program, which allowed us, the Baromet team, to join this panel and share our experience. I'm Dio. I'm the lead of the African Institute of Monitoring and Impact Evaluation, called Le Baromètre. At the Institute, one of the main work we've done over the past 3 years is actually to use technology in tracking sustainable development goals at municipality level in order to inform national policies. In that respect, our contribution to strengthen, build national capacities start with evidence generation, where we support evaluation, data collection, data analysis, reporting, working with institutions like FIDA, IFAD, like the United Nations University, and so on and so forth. Beyond that, we also bring evidence to the fingertips of decision makers using digital solutions. So that's where we've developed what I will share with you in a moment, Baromet SDGs. We've developed Barometer Nutrition to track nutrition development of under 5 children across Benin and beyond. Gender-based violence, Baromet gender-based violence, to track gender-based violence indicators. This is a work we're doing in Cameroon. And recently we started with UNDP here in Benin to design a barometric environment in order to, again, track from the ground to our offices the dynamics of environmental indicators. We also try to engage with stakeholders in order to promote the use of evidence. That's where our evaluation bootcamp is gaining more and more success. Over the past few months, we've set now a certificate of qualification as enumerator. This, we think, is contributing a lot to build national capacities. And considering the dynamic of digital solutions, we are working towards an incubation center for digital monitoring and evaluation solutions. Those are perspectives from which the Baromet contributes to national evaluation capacity building. But when it comes to tracking sustainable development goals at municipality level, you may wonder how it works. And that's actually what I'm going to share with you in a few seconds. And what I will do is, starting from my phone here, my mobile phone, I will connect to the app. Let me share my screen. So, partager l'écran. And once I do that, I will connect it to the Le Baromètre app, which is online, downloadable through Play Store. Once I connect to the app, I will need to log in using my identification and password. So here, I log into the system, key in ID and password, login. And now I'm the environment of Le Baromètre. In this environment, I can open the Sustainable Development Goals. That's where we already have all the Sustainable Development Goals. Here, from the 1st to the 17th, the indicators are behind the system. If I select the first SDG, I can choose to focus on the first indicator. And that's where the magic of the system starts. At a municipality level, I can take a look at the statistics related to that very first indicator. And this screen shows me the name of the indicator, the definition of the indicator with respect to the national system, and then data from a given year. Here is data from 2020 on that very first indicator. And here, if I click on this modality, I can zoom into the percentage of people living beyond the poverty line. I can also remove that, bring it back again. But the system didn't stop at showing these graphs. The system has two other interesting features. The first is, what do we learn from these graphs in 2020? So if you click on que retenir, which is what do we learn, the system displays an answer. Here it's too many poor relatively to the target. So what can we recommend? The system shows here it's important to develop activities that reinforce human capacities. And as you may guess, with a system like this across all the communes in a country, in any given country, we are able to track how the Sustainable Development Goals move, how dynamic they are. But beyond the statistics, one can also take a look at the geoportal, selecting country level, given year. Here I select Benin, 2012, and I start the research, and the system, using the data behind the scene, project that data on a map, and I can see here that overall, Benin is a poor country, but we believe in heterogeneity analysis, which is why we can ask the system how disaggregated is the result. When I launch the research, the system then shows me that by department, this is the real face of poverty. There are departments that are not poor, but others are poor. This will inform how targeted can poverty reduction policy be. And beyond department, Benin has a decentralized system where one can look at what happens at commune level within a given department. Here I choose Department of Zoo. Within that department, what happens regarding the communes? Here you go. You can see that we have a few communes that are essentially non-poor, but in gray, there are two communes in gray where there's no data. And a system like this helps to, again, make sure that what we learn from statistics, we can also bring that closer to decision makers using other features like GeoPortal. And finally, the system allows you to get access to any other documents related to the indicator you are interested in, that sustainable development indicator. Essentially, that's what I intend to share with you in this very first round. And Claudia, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leo. Thanks so much for this innovative app, which you have been showing to us at a distance. So let's move from Benin to the space. Please, Toshi, the floor is yours.
I have a clicker.
Yes.
Thank you for the introduction. My name is Toshi Yokota. I'm a principal evaluation specialist of Asian Development Bank. Oops, sorry.
Okay. So I present application of geospatial information system. Disappeared. Something, yeah, okay. So this is a big picture of GIS data. So including scanning geospatial information and processing data, then application of data. So my presentation highlight on application of data. The first section is portfolio analysis. And the first step of the portfolio analysis is digitizing project location. So I digitized 163 transport projects financed by ADB in the past 10 years. The second step is overlapping with other information, other GIS information. So this is an example overlapping with the alignment of Asian highway network, which has been promoted by UNSCAP for a long time. So we can now we can see which country or region have focused on Asian highway network with ADB financing in the past 10 years. It is just one of example of the finding how to overlap and how to use those information. And so in addition to the project alignment, so we can monitor value in the area of the project alignment. I set the 10-kilometer buffer zone. The figure shows daytime and nighttime satellite imagery and the buffer zone. So we can count the data within the buffer zone. So this slide shows population density and the project location. So population information comes from NASA of USA. We are using a public information. And the study counted the number of the people in the project buffer zone. And I also aggregated the number of the people by country, region, and all together. So in total, there were 300 million people covered by ADB project. So they are potential beneficiary and user for the ADB project. So it's a good benchmark and useful to understand what is the impact of ADB support. So this showed the map of CO2 emission from the transport sector. The source of data is, I think, OECD or European Union. So they, publish CO2 emission every year by sector. So those are very useful information, and we can use that, and we can assess what is the sensitivity of ADB project. Okay, then next is impact evaluation. So difference, maybe I think you know the difference in difference methodology was applied. It is a established methodology originated in the field economics. So I don't discuss all these things because there are many difference for the difference in different methodology. So I assessed the national highway project in Armenia financed by ADB. The project was completed in 2015, nearby the capital of the country. The lot of academic research used nighttime light as a proxy of economic growth. The study assessed the changes in nighttime light after project completion. So you can see the picture of nighttime light in 2015 and 2019, and the computer count how many light increased from those 2 years. The slide show control group for DID analysis. Those are obtained to an appropriate counterfactual to estimate the causal effect. the annual growth rate of project area was higher than the control group by 3.8%. It can be interpreted as an attribution of project. And in total, I assessed the 33 projects financed by ADB. And the average growth rate with the project was about twice the average of without the project. It demonstrated significant contribution of transport project financed by ADB. So next is validation. So we need to validate our findings. We cannot just use, calculation of GIS. So we cannot simply believe, so those data are, are correct. We need to validate the data. So number one is document review and a hearing from the local people. For the Armenia Road project, I found the local people's voice are very consistent with the GIS data analysis. Yeah, so sorry, I was talking about this slide. And this is an example which compared with the standard economic analysis. I compare standard economic analysis and the findings of the GIS analysis, and I found, so those are very consistent. And next one, this is just to show example. So I compare with the other GIS data, that is the population growth. So, by country, I aggregated increased amount of economic growth and increased amount of the people in the project area. Because it is only for 3 years, it's a short time, people did not move so much, but economic growth was much faster than the people's move. So that is one of findings through this figure. Okay, I have 3 conclusions. So number one is performance. So it is useful to monitor project, particularly SDG related indicator, and assess impact evaluation. Number 2, why GIS? I present 4 reasons. So GIS analysis, evidence-based, real-time evaluation if necessary, retrospectively and remotely accessible, and comparable across country. So it is particularly useful for people working in the country with constraint on their access to data. So number 3, so what is requirement? So actually, the requirement is very little, only 2 requirements. Number 1, so we need a knowledge of GIS software like QGIS. So number 2, we need GIS data. And as I told, a lot of GIS data are available on the website and free download. Okay, so those are my conclusion. So this is a link to my paper published by the National Academy of Science of USA, provide further details of the evaluation study. So if you are interested in, please download this paper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Horship. I think it's worthwhile then to say that all of the material, and there is additional material also from Nodumo, all of this will be available on the eCampus after the conference. So you will be able also then to click on that link to SARS Journal to download this and yeah, and of course access anything else, including the recording of this session. If you have trouble, like I have, probably, to digest everything that we have heard, because this was yeah, a very interesting succession of demonstrations of all that technology is doing right now, advances on in many different areas. And yeah, one has trouble of running after these advances. So yeah, I'm sure that you have had many questions coming to your mind. And instead of me asking the panel all the questions I would have in mind, I think it's good to give you the floor immediately. And so I ask our kind ambassadors to come round. So as you ask your question, I would ask you please to say your name, of course, and where you're from. Keep it short, and maybe point out if you have a question for any single panelist, or if you throw it open to all of them. There is ladies first, I would say, and then you. I'm sorry, even though you are my boss, I. Please.
Thank you very much for the presentation to all the presenters. I'm Lina and I'm from Namibia. I have two questions, one for Mr. Gomez. The IDA website, does it include either evaluation reports that were not commissioned or conducted by the UNDP, or is strictly for UNDP evaluations? And Mr. Yakota, I saw on your presentations you had some maps and some findings, particularly the one on carbon dioxide emissions. I saw that it showed as if Africa was the highest emitter. I just wanted to ask, like, on the validation or the validity of some of this information, and also on the population, it showed something like that. So yeah, just on the correctness of some of the figures. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would say we take a second or the third question actually immediately.
I have a question for Gonzalo. You explained us that you are teaching your machine to learn as if it was a child. I would like to know the effort it needs. I have 2 children. So is it similar? Is it a lot of effort to correct the machine? That's the question about that effort. I have a question for Toshi. I saw you're using difference and difference. And I wanted to know if this, when you use this method, there is a third party that validates your research, because your ADB, you're presenting ADB is having impact. You attribute this to ADB to see, because this method can have some biases.
Thank you very much. So there are 2 questions for 2 panelists. Let's ask Gonzalo first. So you have 2 questions
yes.
on AIDA.
Thank
please.
you, Claudia. The first part, yeah, for the moment we have only UNDP evaluations, and only in English for the moment, but conducted centrally, or what we call by IEO, that is our responsibility of conducting centrally the evaluations, but it includes also those evaluations that are decentralized or conducted by consultants by the country offices that are uploaded in our database. I would say by the first quarter of next year, we will have translated from Spanish, Portuguese, Arabic, and French to English all our evaluations, and they will be available. And we are working in conversations with other UN entities and other organizations that want to share the same platform. So if that happens in the near future, it will be more powerful than what it is today. And regarding the efforts, the very beginning was quite difficult, because you need a large data set to teach a machine. A machine cannot be trained with small pieces of data. So out of the 6,000 reports that we have, we used close to 500 reports. So we had a lot of people working on it, and defining the taxonomy of labels, and teaching the machine, and you go extracting pieces of text and labeling and saying, what is this about? So the machine runs the first round, if you want to say, and then someone has to validate that what you were saying is happening in the rest of documents. So it was quite intensive, not as much as raising a kid. I have two on my own. It took me like 18 years each. This is a matter of months only. Thank you.
Thank you, Gonzalo. Please, Toshi.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your question. And in terms of data, this is my apology. I just present Asian countries because I'm working for Asian Development Bank, and I'm assessing a member country. But data are available. So, for example, CO2 data, that is OECD, and nighttime light, that is the US government, and the population, NASA, USA. Those organizations cover entire world, all country, and then not only today, but also if you need 10 years ago, you can go back to the 10 years ago. You can download the data of 10 years ago. In many cases, we forget to take baseline data before starting project, and then it make it very difficult for us to evaluate what are changes. But in case of GIS data, you can go back to, whatever you want to get. If you want to go back 2005, you can go back to 2005 and download those data, like a population, nighttime light, CO2 emission. So those are advantage of the GIS analysis. And in case of the ID, that's a very good question. So we need the like a transparency and accountability and the neutrality for the evaluation. And for Armenia project, I take two steps. Number one, the selection of counterfactual. The road was selected not by me, but local people. We asked the local people, which could be a counterfactual for this case, and the local people selected the road section. And I just use that road section. This is number one. And after the calculation, we also show the data and ask their opinion and the feedback to the result. And based on that feedback and the result, in addition to the document review, so we found could be, that data is valid. That is a process. Thank you. I stop here.
Thank you very much for these answers. So, two more questions. Yeah, please. Okay, we can take three also. Yeah.
Merci. Je vais poser ma question en français.
Bien sûr.
Bonjour, donc je suis Fama Diop Gaye du Bureau opérationnel de suivi du plan Sénégal émergent. Excusez-moi. Donc ma question s'adresse la première à Monsieur Magadlela. Je souhaiterais savoir à peu près quelle est la durée et les moyens qui ont été mis en œuvre, en gros, pour déployer une telle solution. J'ai trouvé la solution très intéressante. Au Sénégal, nous avons entamé toute une démarche autour de l'intelligence artificielle grâce à l'appui du PNUD, que nous remercions au passage. Donc, j'aimerais vraiment savoir quel a été à peu près le budget et le temps nécessaire pour mettre en place cette solution. Et de deux, merci Monsieur Gomez pour la présentation de AIDA, très intéressant. Donc j'ai compris à travers la réponse à la collègue du Namibie qu'à terme, il serait peut-être possible d'ouvrir la plateforme aux autres structures. Je parle de notre cas, nous sommes très intéressés par ce genre de solution. Dans quelle mesure le PNUD pourrait mettre en place un cadre pour permettre finalement aux différentes structures, aux pays aujourd'hui qui ont tous une démarche en termes d'innovation, de pouvoir un peu aller plus vite en partant des projets qui ont déjà été mis en œuvre un peu partout au niveau des pays. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup. J'en prends une deuxième, madame.
Hi, good afternoon. Fadima from Somalia. My question is to Mr. Yokota. I wanted to ask whether you've used this technology to collect environmental data for your projects. levels of deforestation and bodies of water, things like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe behind.
Sí, hola, buenas tardes. Voy a hablar en español. Antes que nada decirles, muy interesante todas las propuestas que han hecho, pero tengo una pregunta muy específica para el señor Gonzalo respecto al ejemplo que dio sobre género, que efectivamente en la aplicación de la inteligencia artificial hace que se puedan reconocer párrafos enteros en base a lo que uno necesita. Entonces mi pregunta es, cuando hace la selección el sistema, ¿de todos modos traen párrafos que no están directamente relacionados con el tema? Y si es así, ¿cómo se hace para descartar? Gracias.
Gracias, señora. Okay, so that means, yeah, maybe we start with Nodumo and your question from Senegal. Please.
Thank you so much for your question. Yes, to date, I could say to get here, we've spent about $100,000. And we're currently in the process of raising an additional $250,000 to complete some of the features. But I would imagine you would need a bit more than that, seeing that you're building at a national level. We're building at a project level. But some of the lessons that we have learned is that you shouldn't wait until you have the full software before you can deploy it in the field. Because the wait times will be very long. It can take maybe 2 years to get a first prototype of the full software. In hindsight, what we could have done better is the moment we finish developing data collection, deploy it immediately into the field and not wait for all the other features to be in place before you roll out. In that way, you can start learning your lessons early on from the M&E managers as they use the software and you keep improving it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. I would then ask Toshi, please, to answer the question on environmental data.
Yeah, thank you. I'm seeing the number of data, GIS data on environment is increasing. So for example, there are many satellites which are monitoring CO2 from the sky. And not only OECD, NASA also published the CO2 data around the world. So those data can be used for our evaluation. So otherwise, somebody will use and somebody evaluate your country based on that data. And the other example is daytime imagery. So daytime picture can be converted to the land use. This is a agriculture, and this is a forest, this is urban. So AI is very intelligent and looking at the picture and identify what is the purpose. And then we can review how land use has been changed by year. So those data also useful. And then, so this is not ADB, but World Bank. They use the drone. But, the first step is collecting, satellite imagery, and then the validate by drone. So we have a many, those kind of technology is improving, I think. Yeah, thank you. I stop there.
Thank you very much. It's your turn to close with the last answers.
Thank you, Claudia. To what extent AIDA can be extended to other organizations? We are working initially, as I said, with UN agencies because of the similarities that we have in the structure of the reports and not only the structure of the reports, but also the labels that we are using to measure. But it can be extended to other organizations, of course. perhaps one prerequisite that we have is that the quality of the evaluation reports that we are ingesting is that are validated. So we are sure that the data that we are putting in the system has been validated by rigorous evaluation methods. Because there are other databases with other data that you don't know if it is validated or not. So, but definitely we are open to expand. We have a dream, like you can go to this search engine and say, what is going on about the SDG 3, right? Like Dion was showing us. But then you can get all the results of the lessons or the conclusions or findings coming from the evaluation. So that is where we are heading. The sky's the limit, but baby steps. So that is one of the answers. The other, the question that was made in Spanish, as any search engine, as any computer, will bring results that are not relevant because the machine interprets something that for the machine was a good result, but not for you. The same happens when you go to Google or Yahoo and you search something, and you will have some positive results for you and some that are not relevant. So that is another level of feedback that we implemented in the system. Under each result, you have a thumbs up or thumbs down. So whenever is positive finding, you can click in the thumbs up and you are telling the machine that it was a good finding based on your search. If you put the thumbs down, you're telling the machine is not good. So the more users give feedback to the machine, the better and more refined the search will be, right? Now, if we have any area where we have consistently negative results, what we do is, since it is supervised and we have a human in the loop, we can retrain the machine based on new inputs to the machine. So the next time will be better, right? So it's an iterative process. And that is the big difference with a static machine learning, because in a static model, it doesn't matter how you do, the model will give you false or positive results. In this case, it can be refined. That is the beauty of this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gonzalo, for this last answer. And now I'm going to conclude something, but I am not going to talk. No, it's the wrong one. Yeah, I mean, this is the tech session. So we have so many inputs that we get confused. Yes. So this is the evaluator who is reaching for the stars now. And you just said the sky is the limit, isn't it? So I hope this is what you come away with. All these beautiful ideas, what one could do, what one might do, and we are getting there, right? Next. These are the evaluators having dinner. That's what artificial intelligence gives you when you say a group of evaluators having dinner. That's what you're going to do in not so long, right? And next is us, the panel. So this is what came out when I put in one Asian person, two persons from Africa, two European looking men, and one European woman. That's how it was interpreted, right? I did feel a bit alone, right? But I was very happy to have so many ladies asking questions. So that's the conclusion from artificial intelligence. Thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.